Welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered why some people get so much done while you feel like you're running in circles? What if I told you there's a simple shift that can help you take control of your day, starting now? In this video, I'll share exactly what happened when I challenged myself to become more productive every single day. Spoiler, it wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter. Get ready for unexpected lessons, real struggles, and practical habits that changed everything. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's find out what really happens when you stop wasting time and start living with purpose. I used to think being productive meant doing as much as possible in a single day, checking off tasks, juggling responsibilities, always being busy. But over time, I realized that busyness isn't the same as productivity. I found myself exhausted, distracted, and dissatisfied. The turning point came when I asked myself one question: what if I could be more productive by doing less, but doing it with more intention? That question led me on a journey that transformed how I approached every single day. The first thing I discovered was the power of planning. I stopped diving into my day blindly and started mapping out my time the night before. It didn't have to be complicated, just a simple list of the top 3 things I needed to accomplish. That small shift helped me begin each morning with clarity instead of chaos. I learned that when you start your day knowing your priorities, you're less likely to get lost in distractions. Instead of reacting to everything around me, I started acting on what mattered. I also found that productivity isn't just about what you do, but when you do it. I paid attention to my energy levels throughout the day and noticed that my focus peaked in the early hours. So I began protecting that time for my most demanding tasks. I stopped checking emails and social media first thing in the morning and saved that low focus time for the afternoon. That single change doubled my output. And with that output came momentum. There's something deeply motivating about completing meaningful work early in the day. It sets the tone and gives you a sense of control. But being more productive every day also meant eliminating what was quietly stealing my time. I took a hard look at the things that distracted me most: constant phone notifications, endless scrolling, multitasking. I turned off all non-essential alerts and set boundaries for social media use. I even started using website blockers during work hours. The results were immediate. Without those micro distractions, I found deeper focus and completed tasks faster than I thought possible. It wasn't just about willpower. It was about designing an environment that supported productivity instead of sabotaging it. I also redefined what breaks meant to me. Before, I'd work nonstop until I'd burn out, then crash and feel guilty for being unproductive. Now, I take short, intentional breaks throughout the day. 10 minutes to stretch, breathe, or go for a walk. These pauses recharge my mind and allow me to return to work with fresh energy. It's counterintuitive, but taking breaks made me more productive. I became more consistent, and consistency, I realized, is the real secret behind daily productivity. Anyone can have one good day, but to build momentum, you need good days in a row, and that starts with habits. I started waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. I developed a morning routine that primed my mind for focus. I exercised, meditated, journaled, or simply sat in silence with a cup of coffee. These rituals anchored my mornings and created a rhythm that made starting work easier. Over time, the discipline I built in the morning spilled into the rest of the day. I became more intentional with how I used every block of time. I realized that small wins build confidence, and that confidence fuels progress. One of the biggest lessons I learned in my journey to daily productivity was understanding the difference between motion and progress. I used to confuse the two all the time. I would spend hours organizing my to-do list, color-coding my calendar, or watching videos about productivity hacks. It all felt like work, but I wasn't actually moving closer to my goals. I was busy, but I wasn't productive. Once I realized this, I started evaluating every action I took. I asked myself, is this actually helping me finish something important, or is it just making me feel productive? That simple filter helped me cut through the noise. I stopped doing things just to stay busy. Instead, I focused on making tangible progress every day. Even if it was small, It had to be real. I adopted a new mindset. Done is better than perfect. I used to procrastinate by trying to perfect everything. I would revise the same document 10 times, redo a presentation for minor tweaks, or delay launching a project until it felt flawless. But perfectionism was just disguised fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of failing. So, I gave myself permission to deliver work that was good enough and improve it later. That shift alone unlocked so much energy. I started completing more and worrying less. And that momentum kept building. I realized that productivity is deeply tied to mindset. When I started believing I was someone who could be productive every day, my behavior followed. I created visual reminders of my goals. I tracked my progress and celebrated small wins. I started saying no more often, not out of rudeness, but out of respect for my time. I learned that productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. I began scheduling my priorities instead of prioritizing my schedule. Every morning, before anything else, I chose one high-impact task that would move me forward in a meaningful way. I called it my daily win. No matter what else happened that day, I made sure that one thing got done. This gave me a sense of accomplishment that carried through the rest of the day. Another major breakthrough came when I embraced the power of systems over goals. I used to set ambitious goals, but rarely followed through. I'd feel motivated at first, then lose steam. But when I started creating systems, repeatable processes that supported my outcomes, I became more consistent. For example, instead of setting a goal to write a book, I built a system to write for 30 minutes every morning. That system made the goal inevitable. I also recognized that productivity doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's connected to every other part of your life, your health, your relationships, your mindset. So I started taking better care of myself. I improved my sleep hygiene, stayed hydrated, and moved my body regularly. When I felt better physically, I performed better mentally. I also prioritized meaningful connections. I made time for deep conversations, spent less time on shallow social interactions, and surrounded myself with people who inspired me. These relationships fueled my motivation and held me accountable. They reminded me why I was doing the work in the first place. Being productive every day isn't about squeezing more hours into your schedule. It's about maximizing the value of the hours you already have. It's about cutting through the noise, eliminating the unnecessary, and putting your energy into the things that truly matter. As I simplified my life, I became more focused. As I became more focused, I became more productive. And as I became more productive, I started living with purpose.